Right, so we're gonna take our strap and place it around the ribs. You can find kind of the lower ribs if you're really familiar with 360 breathing, or just start with those mid ribs or higher ribs. I like to cross it over just a little bit. We're not closing off the ribs or tightening. Our brain just needs to know that there's something around the rib cage. So a little bit more feedback. You can close your eyes, and we're going to start by just inhaling and feeling that side to side expansion. We'll exhale today like we're blowing out birthday candles through the mouth, inhaling and feeling that side to side expansion. When you're ready, exhale, blow out all those birthday candles. So take quite a few more breaths like this. Really feeling our ribs expand and push into the strap as we inhale. And then notice what happens to the ribs and the strap as you exhale like you're blowing out candles. The ribs should automatically kind of draw or knit back in. Now for the next few breaths, we'll stay like this with the strap, but I want you to think about breathing directly into the strap at your back ribs. So can we feel that push and that expansion of our back ribs into the strap? Breathing into the back body. Okay, we're gonna put the strap aside, grab our block, and come onto our back. We will be using the strap later, so just have it nearby as we lie down. And our block is actually just gonna come right in between the hands. So we're gonna palm the block just right in front of the chest. Find your triple S with the knees bent, feet on the mat. So triple S, that's back of the skull, shoulder blades and sacrum. We're gonna take a big breath in the same way as if we had our strap around the ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles. And just squeeze the block in between the hands. Inhale, relax that squeeze. Take a big breath in. Exhale, blow out your candles and squeeze the block nice and hard between the hands. Inhale, relax the squeeze. Big breath all the way around the rib cage. Exhale, squeeze. Feel your pelvic points draw in. And then pick up your right foot. Any amount, maybe knee comes over the hip into hip flexion. Step the foot down. Inhale, relax that squeeze. Breathe all the way around the ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles. Draw the pelvic points in, squeeze the block, pick up your left foot. So now we're just adding on some hip flexion to challenge the core. Go at your own pace. When you exhale, you squeeze, draw the pelvic points in, pick up one foot at a time without the pelvis shifting side to side. So keeping that sacrum right in the middle down. Starting to wake up the deep core. One more. Now feet come down. We're going to place the block between the knees or the thighs, whatever width of the block feels best. Hands are going to come to your rib cage. So if you can, put your thumbs on those back ribs, the rest of the fingers on the front ribs. So we're kind of just hooking our hands around the ribs. Take a huge breath in, breathe into the ribs side to side, and then make sure you can feel your breath move into the thumbs as well at the back ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles. Hug the block. Now we lift into low bridge. Pelvic points draw in. Inhale, breathe into the ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles, hug the block. Slowly lower down from bridge. And again, inhale, breathe into your ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles, hug the block. Pelvic points draw in, we lift into low bridge, waking up the glutes. Inhale at the top. Exhale, blow out your candles. Hug the block, slowly lower down. Try that a couple more times, syncing the breath at your own pace. Feel the ribs just naturally kind of knit back in as you exhale. The next time you end up in low bridge, let's stay there, feeling those two pelvic points tighten in. Stretch out either wrist at a time. Feel that expansion of your breath sideways and backwards as if we still had the strap around the ribs. Switch hands. Stretch out the other wrist. Stay long in the low back. Pressing into the feet, using the glutes to lift the hips here. Hands come back to your ribs one more time. We're going to inhale. Feel that expansion into the side and back ribs. Exhale, hug the block. Slowly tiptoe the spine down as you exhale. We'll take the block out and come into a seated position for a moment. We won't need the strap here. We're going to sit up, reach the right arm up, and then really feel your right armpit try to lift up, 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 up toward the ear. Side bend, keeping this right hip down, and we'll fist to fire. So open and close that right hand, waking up the wrist. Focus on breathing into this right side of the rib cage. Release it down and we'll switch. Left arm up. Get that left armpit way up toward the ear. Side bend, keeping the left hip down, and then open and close the left hand. Imagine sending your breath right into this left side of the torso. Good, come back up. We're gonna head to quadruped and we'll use the strap here. It's a little bit of a funky setup. We're gonna bring the strap behind us. So it's gonna come to those back ribs. And then it's gonna be under the hands for quadruped. So we wanna have a certain amount of tension in the strap, not too tight, but we do want our brain to feel that there is a strap touching our ribs. So we wanna set up for our neutral quadruped, knees under the hips. Nice long spine like there's a broom behind you. We'll inhale and focus on that back body expansion. Can we feel those back ribs make contact or push into the strap as we inhale? Exhale, blow out your birthday candles. Inhale when you're ready. Focus on breathing into the strap behind you. Exhale, blow out your birthday candles. So have as much tension on the strap as you need. We'll do that a couple more times. Adding on a little bit more core engagement. We start the same way. Inhale, push your back ribs into the strap without rounding or catting the back. Exhale, we'll blow out our candles. Draw those two pelvic points in. Slide the right toes back. Hip extension. Slide back in for quadruped. Inhale, breathe into the strap behind you. Exhale, blow out your candles. Pelvic points draw in, slide the left toes back. Slide back in. So now we're just alternating a toe slide into hip extension. On the exhale, Pelvis stays steady, so we don't drop the belly or arch the low back. Working the stability of the hip. One more each side. Keep that feeling of a broom taped behind you. Slide it back in. You're welcome to keep the strap here as we cat-cow, or move the strap out of the way for now. Just getting a little mobility in the pelvis and the spine. All right, we'll head to down dog. Start in that nice short quadruped, knees in nice and tight. Tuck the toes, press into the fingers, and we'll really lift the pelvis up, lift the ribs up toward the body. Knees are going to stay nice and bent and the heels lifted so we can swivel the knees and the toes to the left without the shoulders turning, and then swivel knees and toes to the right without the shoulders turning. So we keep that really engaged shoulders, strong arms, and we just swivel down below, getting this side body stretch, the space between the ribs and the pelvis. Walk your hands back towards your feet for happy squat. Widen your stance as much as you need for the belly to rest on the thighs. We're going to press the ground away and rise up, grabbing our block. So just like we did on our back with that squeeze, as we exhale for that extra core engagement, we're going to walk forward like that. So we'll take a big breath in, breathe as if you had the strap around your ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles, squeeze the block between your palms, pick up one foot. Step it down, inhale, relax the squeeze on the block. Exhale, blow out your candles, squeeze the block between your palms, pick up the other foot. So keep walking your way forward, moving with the breath. This is exactly the same movement we did on our back. Hip flexion. Can we hold the pelvis steady? Nothing else changes. We just pull one thigh up toward the body. Using the breath as part of the core for that extra support. When you get to the front of the mat, we're going to stay, but now the block is just going to come over our head. It does not have to be in line with the ears. Let's make sure we don't arch the back. So we keep that stack of ribs over the pelvis, lift the armpit and the block up, side bend to the right. Come back up, lift the block and the armpits even higher, side bend to the left. Come back up, we hinge forward into quadruped. Bring the block to your sacrum, the back of the pelvis. Let's engage the deep core here. Tuck your toes, breathe as if you had that strap behind you again. Exhale through your mouth like you're blowing out candles. Draw the pelvic points in, hover the knees. Tap the knees down, inhale, big breath into the ribs. Exhale, candles. Pelvic points draw in, hover the knees without rounding the back or spreading the shoulder blades apart. Tap down, let's do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale, candles. Pelvic points draw in, we hover the knees without rounding the back. Tap the knees down, move the block aside. We're going to step our right foot forward into 90-90. Grab your strap, and it's again going to come around the rib cage. Same setup as when we were seated. You can cross it over, but we're not trying to close off the ribs or tighten around the ribs. We just want that feedback for the brain. Imaginary broom behind you. Inhale, breathe and expand all your rib cage into the strap. Exhale, blow out your birthday candles. Notice what happens to the rib cage. Inhale, feel that expansion side to side, front and back. Exhale. Keep that left glute active and firm. Take a few more breaths like this. Feeling the ribs push into the strap without the shoulders or the neck tensing. Good, we're gonna keep holding onto the strap, but it's gonna come up over our head. So kind of like how we had the block, you're just gonna hold it. Does not have to go in line with the ears. Let's make sure we don't arch the back. Lift the strap and the armpits up. Pull the strap apart and side bend to the right. Firm that left glute. Come back up. Again, we lift up higher. Pull the strap apart, side bend to the right. Pelvic points draw in. Come back up one more time. Lift up. Pull the strap apart, side bend. Come back up. Strap comes aside or just next to you. We come to quadruped. Nice long spine. Right arm reaches out. Push into that left hand. Turn only the ribs to the right. This is going to be pretty small. And then thread that right arm under, turning the ribs the other way. Push into the left hand. Turn the ribs right. Thoracic rotation, exhale, thread it under. So we're trying not to turn the pelvis or the low back. One more time, turn the ribs right. Thread it under. Back to quadruped, let's switch sides. Left foot steps forward. Grab your strap for our 90-90. Strap comes around the ribs. Hold it however you want. We just want the brain to know that there's something touching the ribs. Take your big breaths in. Feel the rib cage expand, front, side, and back. Exhale, blow out your candles. You should feel the ribs naturally kind of knit back in toward each other or back in toward center. Keep that right glute firm, pelvis neutral. Can you feel your back ribs make contact with the strap as you inhale? One more breath. Stay in your 90-90. Bring the strap up overhead. Lift your armpits up. Pull the strap apart. We side bend left. Keep that right hip stable. Come back up. Lift up higher. Armpits lift. Pull the strap apart. Side bend left. Pelvic points draw in. One more time. Come up right. Lift up higher. Pull the strap apart. Side bend to the left. Come back up. Put the strap down as we head to quadruped. Imaginary broom behind your back. So spine is long, left arm out to the left. Push into the right hand, turn the ribs left. Exhale, thread it under, turning the ribs to the right. Inhale, rotate the ribs left. Exhale, thread it under. One more time, rotating the thoracic spine, just turning the ribs. Back to quadruped. You are welcome, of course, to take down dog. You can cat-cow. You can take some kind of child's pose. Wherever you'd like to be for the next couple breaths. If you're in down dog, press into the fingers. Feel the front ribs lift up toward the body instead of sinking down. Now we walk forward. Bent knee, forward fold. Grab your block as you rise up. We're gonna palm it right in between the hands again. Lift the block and the armpits up. Side bend to the right. Get that space and stretch in the left side body. Come back upright. Lift the block up even higher. Side bend left. Come back up, lift the block up, hinge forward like a broom is behind you. We head to quadruped again. Block comes to the back of the pelvis, balancing on the sacrum for that deep core engagement. Inhale as if you had the strap around your ribs. You can tuck the toes. Exhale, blow out your candles. Pelvic points draw in. We hover the knees without rounding the back. So it shouldn't look like we're doing cat-cow. Tap the knees down. Inhale, big breath into the ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles. Pelvic points draw in. We hover the knees without rounding the back. Tap down one more time. Inhale. Exhale, pelvic points cinch in. Hover the knees. Tap it down. Move the block aside. We'll step our right foot forward. Maybe we tuck the left toes under this time. Block is again going to come right in front of the chest. Take a big breath in. Expand the ribs. Exhale, blow out your candles. Squeeze the block between your hands. Turn the ribs maybe an inch to the right as you squeeze the block. Inhale back to center. Relax the squeeze. Expand the ribs. Exhale, candles. Squeeze the block. Turn just the ribs. Teeny tiny. And then bring it back. Keep going at your own pace. Feel those ribs almost knit in as we rotate. Pelvic points draw in. Use the breath to really integrate the core. Come back to center. Lower to quadruped for a moment, and then we're going to keep lowering further if that feels okay onto forearms. You can always stay with regular quadruped just on your hands. Knees in nice and tight. Let's protract and retract the shoulder blades here. So again, it's not moving the spine like cat-cow, but we're going to push into the forearms, shoulder blades spread apart, protraction. And then the chest lowers or softens down to the ground as the shoulder blades draw in toward each other. Protract, shoulder blades spread away. Retract, shoulder blades draw in. Try to hold everything else still. Pelvis doesn't move. Head doesn't move. This is all just coming from the shoulder blades. Now let's find our neutral, that happy medium between protraction and retraction. Tuck the toes 3 times. We're going to try a hover. Inhale, breathe all the way around the rib cage. Exhale, blow out your candles. Pelvic points draw in. We try to hover the knees without rounding the back. Might be so tiny. Tap down, inhale. Exhale, candles. Pelvic points draw in. Hover the knees, keep it super low. Tap down one more time. Inhale, getting that deep core. Exhale. Pelvic points draw in, hover the knees. Tap down, come back up onto the hands for quadruped. Left foot steps forward. Grab your block. Feel free to tuck the right toes under this time for our 90-90. Block comes right in front of the chest. Inhale, expand around the ribs like you have a strap. Exhale through the mouth, squeeze the block. Turn just the ribs. Back to center, relax the squeeze. Inhale, expand. Exhale, squeeze. Turn just the ribs. Bring it back. Inhale, move at your own pace. Keep that right glute really active so that the pelvis and low back don't turn to the left. We just turn the ribs. It's a lot of core work to only turn the ribs. So we're using the exhale to keep the core integrated as we rotate. One more time. Lower down, quadruped. You can stay in quadruped or choose to lower to your forearms. We'll do that protraction and retraction, moving the shoulder blades without cat-cowing the back. So try not to move the spine like it's rounding and arching. Spine stays still. We just feel the shoulder blades slide apart and back toward each other. Find your happy medium right in the middle. Spine is long. Let's tuck the toes. Inhale like you have a strap around your ribs. Exhale, blow out your birthday candles. Pelvic points tighten in. We hover the knees without rounding the back. Tap down. Inhale. Exhale, candles. Pelvic points cinch in. We hover. Really getting the shoulders, the deep core. Tap down one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Pelvic points draw in. Hover the knees. And tap down. Your choice. Any kind of down dog. Some kind of cat-cow or child's pose. Wherever you end up, think about your breath. Can we feel that expansive inhale all the way around the rib cage, into the side ribs, into the back ribs? Let's walk the feet forward, bent knee forward fold. Press the ground away. We're going to rise up with the block. So we've done this in various different ways. It's really going to be the same action. We're going to step our right foot back into a high lunge. Right knee is nice and bouncy, so knee is bent. Pubic bone zippers up to the belly. Block comes right in front of the chest. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, squeeze the block, blow out your candles. Holding that squeeze, tap the right foot forward. Float that right thigh up, hip flexion, any amount. Tap down, step it back into your lunge. Relax your squeeze. Inhale. Exhale, candles. Squeeze the block, tap forward. Pick up the thigh, hip flexion. Tap it down, step it back. We'll keep going, any pace. Exhale, squeeze. Use that integrated core to balance. Maybe we skip the taps, go right to that single leg balance. And back to your lunge. So add as much challenge as you want. Inhaling to expand the breath all the way around the ribs. Exhale to feel that knitting in of the ribs and the core. Using the breath for that extra support. Good, come to your lunge. We're gonna turn to the right. Externally rotate the hips. So we're in goddess squat. Imaginary broom behind your back. Zipper the pubic bone to the belly. Block is going to stay where it is in front of the chest. Inhale, same thing, big breath. Exhale, squeeze. Pelvic points draw in. We turn the ribs maybe an inch to the right, just like we did in low lunge. Back to center. Inhale, relax the squeeze. Exhale, squeeze. Pelvic points draw in. We turn the ribs left. It's a small rotation. Keep moving with the breath. Exhale, candles, squeeze. Turn just the ribs without the low back turning. So we're keeping that knitted in feeling of the ribs and the core as we rotate. Turn to the back of the mat. The block is going to come between your thighs as high as it feels comfortable, as wide as you want the block. And we'll work on some hip hinges, moving with the breath and the core. Hands start at the front of your hips. We'll inhale, slide the hands down, hinge forward like you're sending your butt back. Exhale, push the ground away. Give that block a little hug as you rise up. Inhale, hinge forward like a broom is taped behind your back. Knees as bent as you need. Exhale, push the feet into the ground, gently hug the block, rise up. So now we're getting into the breath, the core, the pelvic floor, and the glutes. Everything sinking together with the breath. Take the block out. Step your left foot back. We turn back to the side of the mat. Again, block comes in front of the chest. We're going to side lunge left. Give the block a little squeeze. Exhale, turn just the ribs. Back to center, relax the squeeze, side lunge right. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Turn the ribs. So now we're doing that same action. We're just adding it to a side lunge. Exhale when you rotate and squeeze the block so we have that support from the core. We're just turning the ribs. We're not doing any kind of cranking twist on the spine. We're just rotating the thoracic spine. Good, rise up, turn back to the front of the mat, and let's do that on the second side. So we step our left foot back, shorten the stance as much as you need. Pubic bone zippers to the belly. Block in front of the chest. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Tap. Come to that single leg balance. Tap down, back to your lunge. Do that again. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Tap. Pick up the foot. Tap. Back to your lunge. Of course, you can skip the taps. Exhale. Maybe we go right to our single leg balance, right to our lunge. So we've practiced this action on our backs, standing, where we flex one hip at a time, which is bringing the thigh toward the torso, without the low back changing, without the spine changing, with support of the breath and the core. From your lunge, let's turn to the left, facing the side of the mat. Block stays in front of the chest. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze the block. Draw the pelvic points in, turn only the ribs. Either way first, come back to center. Inhale, relax the squeeze. Exhale, squeeze, pelvic points draw in, turn just the ribs the other way. So we'll do that a few more times. Working with the breath, keeping the core integrated. Cinch those pelvic points in like you're tightening your sweatpants. Turn to the back of the mat, feet as wide as you need, block between the thighs. Let's get into the glutes and the pelvic floor a little bit more. Inhale, hinge forward, knees as bent as you need to keep the spine long. Exhale, push the ground away, rise up. Inhale, hinge forward. Spine is long, broom behind your back. Exhale, give that block a little squeeze or hug as you rise up. So as we inhale, we are lengthening the glutes and the pelvic floor. And as we exhale, we are contracting the glutes and the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor lifts on the way back up as we hug the block. Lengthens on the way down. Use the breath to keep the core integrated. Take the block out, step that right foot back, turn back to the side of the mat. Side lunges, side lunge right. Squeeze the block as you turn the ribs right. Unwind, side lunge left. Squeeze the block as you exhale, turn the ribs left. Keep that feeling of your pelvic points drawing in. So we don't turn the low back, we're just turning the ribs. Let's turn back to the front, quadruped. You can belly roll or cat-cow. We'll come into either a child's pose or a puppy pose, so keep the hips as high as you need. We'll walk the hands over toward the right, maybe hinging back into the hips a little bit more, but instead of arching the back, think about pushing your hands into the ground, lifting your front ribs up toward the body, so we get a more active stretch in the left side of the torso. Send your breath into the left side of the rib cage. Walk the hands over to the left corner of the mat. Push the ground away, lift those front ribs up, breathe into that right side. Let's come out of it. You're welcome to end on your back or on your side or just in a seated position. Let's imagine that nice long spine. If we're seated, like that broom is taped behind us. If you're lying down, think about the back of your skull, your shoulder blades, and your sacrum touching the ground. Hands can rest at your sides, or you can bring your hands back to your rib cage. Let's take a few breaths, expanding the breath into the ribs, front, side, and back. And just a soft, relaxed exhale, either through the nose or the mouth. Few more breaths like that. Big expansion into the ribs as you inhale. Keeping the shoulders relaxed and the neck relaxed. As you're slowing down the breath here, take a moment to thank yourself for your practice today. Whenever you're ready to finish up, send one grateful thought out into the universe.